Hi, my name is Kasper Skov. Welcome to the presentation of our paper Living with Sound Zones, a long-term field study of dynamic sound zones in a domestic context, on behalf of Rune Jacobsen, Stine Johansen, Mikael Skov, and Jesper Kjeldskov. At home, people experience both audio and visual media in a plethora of ways. The shared domestic space can be filled with sounds from shared devices as well as personal devices. Some may use their phone, some may watch television, while others are simply present, resulting in a sometimes chaotic environment. To counteract, people have several techniques to curate their own sound environment. For example, physically distancing themselves from others or wearing headphones. But this may lead to inhibited social interaction and less awareness of surroundings. So what are sound zones? Sound zone technology creates personal listening experiences where multiple people can listen to different content in different areas without disturbing each other. Here you see a living room with sound zones created by a large speaker array. One person sits at the dinner table while a second person sits on the couch watching television. By targeting sound towards intended listeners, sound zones allow multiple people to have personal listening experiences within the same environment. And additionally, sound zones reduce sound propagation towards the rest of the environment. Sound zones have two unique spatial characteristics that the users can dynamically control: size and position. So if a third person joins in the couch and wants to also hear the television, the size can be increased to cover an entire area, allowing multiple people to listen to the same content. Furthermore, the sound zones can change position to where listeners are. Here we see a user changing position. By moving the control device, the user can bring the sound zone with them. To understand how households can use sound zone systems in their everyday lives, we designed and implemented a dynamic sound zone system. Here is an overview of the entire system. It is designed to provide a complete replacement of existing media devices within the living room of the participants. The system comprises a soundbar speaker array, a visualization display, and a 55-inch flat-screen TV. On tangible controllers, users can select what to hear in the sound zones, as well as change volume and size. The sound zones follow the position of the controllers, allowing users to physically move the zone to where they need it. Users can stream audio and video through standardized streaming, for example AirPlay, Chromecast, and Bluetooth. To approach an empirical understanding of real-world interaction with dynamic sound zones, we conducted a 4-week field study with 5 households. For our study, we used multiple methods throughout several stages. We started by recruiting 5 families for our study. The study ran for a total of 4 weeks. The families was of different constellations, some with and some without children, and with participants of different ages. We conducted a pre-deployment interview in each household to gain insight into the physical and social aspects of the acoustic environment. Following this, we conducted a contextual technology tour combined with a sound walk to invoke informal conversation about the family's current use of media systems, the sound environment, and daily life situations within the home. After 2 weeks of deployment, a midway interview was conducted online with each household. By employing principles related to the experience sampling method, self-reports were collected in situ to reduce reliance on participants' long-term memory. Throughout the deployments, we logged all interactions with the system, including volume, width, position, changes, and choice of media source on both controllers. To conclude the study, we conducted a post-deployment interview with each household to invite participants to describe their overall experiences with a focus on what was different compared to the first 2 interviews. We analyzed our data by performing a qualitative thematic analysis, and finally, we performed an analysis of system use based on log data. The general trends revealed that families used the SoundZone system for 20 days in average, and 96 minutes per day. Single zones were the primary use, accounting for 87% of all listening, and the remaining for multi-zones. Across the 5 families, we identified how households experienced having a SoundZone system for 4 weeks. For brevity, we highlight 4 of our sub-themes derived from the thematic analysis. So how is it being in a zone? First of all, the participants described how the audio quality was very similar to their current sound system, but however, they also noted that they sometimes felt that the sound was less immersive than they were used to. Many of the participants described situations where sound zones prevented individual family members from withdrawing to another room or from wearing headphones when together. One participant explained regarding his experience of being outside a zone that the sound was noticeable, but not to an extent that resulted in any disturbances. Having multiple sound zones simultaneously yielded less positive responses when the audio content were different. However, multiple participants found it particularly useful to listen to the same content in 2 sound zones with personalized volume control. All households expressed how they experienced less sound exposure while having the SoundZone system. Participants described how they felt that their overall sound environment had become increasingly comfortable. As participants could control position and size, they also deliberately changed behavior to shield others. We will now present how our paper extends on prior research and point towards new research directions within SIGCHI. An important aspect of sound zones is how they can be instrumental in controlling audio. Our families found new opportunities to stay physically together in their living rooms. As sound is spreading less into the surroundings, participants that would otherwise leave a room could stay without feeling disturbed. Members of a household may have different preferences when listening to sound. SoundZone systems give people the opportunity to listen to the same thing but with different volumes. This can also be used by people hard of hearing to receive an adequate volume and maybe even accentuating certain frequency areas like speech. Sound zones are not yet able to create entirely distinct areas with sound without also exposing the surrounding area to different degrees. This imperfection can be seen as a limitation of the technology, but our participants also found it pleasurable to be able to hear with half an ear what others are listening to. With sound zones, people don't need to wear headphones for personal listening experiences. This enables people to have social interactions and display social availability. We put forth 3 concrete directions that can be pursued within human factors of sound zones. Firstly, interaction with the controller is shared, as with conventional media remotes. An interesting avenue of research for SoundZone interaction could be to investigate personally anchored interaction technologies. For example, moving the interaction from shared controllers to personal smart devices. Secondly, we believe that future studies could investigate how users can set up the system to accommodate common usage patterns in homes. For instance, having selectable presets for different listening situations, which could be further extended into automated system behaviors. And thirdly, we have focused on the domestic context, but many believe that SoundZone technology poses great opportunities in a variety of settings. Sound zones may in public spaces allow for directed content towards intended listeners. For example, in a critical domain, such as in hospitals, sound zones can be used to provide focused music interventions for improving recovery, especially in multi-patient environments. Thank you very much for your time.